There are some powers that are so bloody outrageous that they change absolutely everything once they're shown. Everyone until that moment had no idea what they were even facing, and they felt like they knew exactly who this person was or would be. That's when they bring out the crazy superpower, and everyone around them is looking knackered, thinking bloody hell, and asking where that came from. Even worse, this wasn't because someone wanted to do some showy reveal, because it was nearly always used as an old crap button. So grab a snack, mate, sit back, and let's get right into it. When Aang first appears in Avatar, The Last Airbender, the bloke doesn't exactly come across as the savior of the world. A lot of people would expect some serious, almost mythical presence when hearing that title, but instead you get a bloody carefree lad who doesn't seem interested in fate. The lad spends most of his time cracking jokes and avoiding responsibility whenever possible. Even in serious moments, he tends to deflect tension with humor or run off before things get too heavy, giving off the impression that he is still very much a child, trying to enjoy what little freedom he has, rather than some carrying the bloody weight of the entire nations on his shoulder. In fact, if you'd met him without any context, you'd probably assume that guy was just another bloody airbender having the time of his life. Sure, Katara and Sokka know that he's the Avatar, but being told somebody's powerful and actually seeing that power are two different things. Even they struggle to believe the idea of this playful kid being the legendary airbending bloke that they've heard stories about, because he rarely demonstrates anything beyond basic airbending tricks in a day-to-day situation. At this point, nobody around Aang has any idea what the Avatar is truly capable of. The true scale of his power, the mastery of all four elements, and the deep spiritual connection that he carries are still hidden beneath his playful exterior. The funny thing is that Aang isn't really hiding the Avatar state. The bloke barely understands it himself. He knows it exists, but he has absolutely no control over when it appears. It's not some secret move he can activate whenever he feels like it, at least not in the first season. The Avatar state is more like a giant bloody emergency alarm buried deep inside of him. Whenever his emotions spiral out of control, the thing just decides to show up on its own. And that's honestly way more terrifying, because it means nobody knows when it might happen next, including the lad himself. That danger arrives sooner than anyone expected, as after being captured by Prince Zuko, Aang manages to escape the guy, but things go sideways quickly. During the chaos, he ends up deep beneath the ocean, beside Zuko's ship, trapped underwater in a shitty as hell scenario with no way to escape. As the situation becomes increasingly desperate, Aang is running out of time, and for the first time since returning to the world, he's facing a threat he genuinely might not survive. Then, just as suddenly, it happens. Aang's eyes burst open with a white glow. Moments later, the tattoos covering his body begin glowing as well. Before anyone can process what's happening, a massive sphere of energy erupts around him beneath the water. The ocean itself seems to react to his power as water swirls around him. It's as if the entire sea has answered his call. And then, in one of the coolest moments in the early series, Aang rises from the depths, completely surrounded by the Avatar state's overwhelming energy. What makes this ability so bloody ridiculous is that it isn't just a power boost. The Avatar state grants Aang access to the combined power and knowledge of every Avatar who came before him. Think about that for a second. As hundreds of lifetimes worth of experience are all flowing into one person at the same time, most benders spend decades mastering a single element. The Avatar state essentially turns Aang into a living weapon powered by centuries of wisdom and skill, and for a 12-year-old kid, that's a bloody unfair advantage. The reactions tell you everything you need to know, as Zuko's crew, who'd spent the entire episode chasing this young lad around, suddenly look terrified. Katara and Sokka can only watch in shock as this goofy airbender transforms into something far beyond their bloody understanding. Even the audience immediately realizes that Aang isn't just another talented bender, but rather he's carrying a power unlike anything else in the world. And from that moment on, whenever those glowing eyes appear, everyone knows things are about to get bloody serious. By the time Alien X enters the picture, Ben Tennyson already has a reputation for pulling really ridiculous aliens out of the Omnitrix. Every time a fight gets difficult, the Watch somehow reveals another bloody transformation that solves the problem. Need speed? He's got an alien for that. Need strength? Easy. Need flight, firepower, or some fucking weird ability that nobody asked for? The Omnitrix has got the lad covered. Hell, need to fuck somebody up? Ask no more. So when fans first heard that there was another transformation hidden inside the Watch, most people assumed it would just be another bloody powerful alien. Nobody expected the young lad to casually unlock one of the most broken abilities in cartoon history. The reason Alien X stays hidden for so long isn't because Ben is keeping secrets, but because the transformation is a complete nightmare to use. Unlike his other aliens, Alien X comes with two cosmic blokes living inside of its mind, being Serena and Bellicus. Every bloody action requires both of them to agree. Want to move your arm? There's a debate. Want to save somebody? There's a debate. Want to breathe? Probably another debate. The entire transformation is essentially a cosmic courtroom where Ben has to sit around listening to two immortal blokes argue about everything imaginable. And the worst part is that these arguments are not quick or simple disagreements. They spiral into endless bloody philosophical wars over the smallest decision, meaning every urgent situation gets stuck in limbo while they go back and forth. On top of that, Ben himself is often just stuck observing, unable to override or speed things up, which makes the whole experience feel more like being trapped inside of a thinking machine, rather than actually using a transformation. Eventually, the young lad finds himself facing a situation that requires far more than physical brute strength. His normal transformations aren't enough anymore, and one by one, the usual solutions stop working. When that happens, Ben decides to take a gamble on an alien he's never properly used before. The Omnitrix activates and the transformation sequence begins. Suddenly, something appears that makes every other alien in the series look completely normal.
Good a time as any to give this one a try.
Alien X!
Standing there is Alien X, a gigantic black figure covered in stars, looking less like a living creature and more like a piece of the bloody universe itself. The design alone immediately tells you that this thing is different. 4 arms looks strong, and Heat Blast looks dangerous, but Alien X looks like he shouldn't even bloody exist. The problem is that after appearing, he doesn't do anything. He just stands there motionless, while Ben gets dragged into an endless argument between the two other blokes. For a brief moment, everyone watching is probably wondering if this alien is utterly useless.
Hello? Anybody home in there?
Ben, come on. 7-7's getting away with the princess. Ben, are you okay? Ben?
Then, the true scale of Alien X's power becomes clear, and suddenly the situation changes. This isn't a character with super strength or energy blasts. Alien X can manipulate reality itself. Be it matter, time, or space, entire sections of existence can basically be rewritten if the cosmic personalities agree to it. That's such a stupidly overpowered ability that it almost feels unfair to include it in the same conversation as normal superheroes. Most characters win fights by punching harder, while Alien X can practically decide the fight never happened in the first place.
Alien X! Seconded! Water-stopping motion carry!
The reactions to this reveal are brilliant because they start with confusion and slowly evolve into pure disbelief. At first, everyone is wondering why this godlike alien is standing around like a complete wanker. Then they learn what Alien X actually is, and suddenly nobody's laughing anymore. Ben hasn't just unlocked another transformation, but he's unlocked a bloody cosmic entity capable of reshaping reality itself. From that moment onward, Alien X became the benchmark for ridiculous power levels in Ben 10. Because once you've revealed an alien that can alter existence, it's pretty difficult to impress people with anything else. What makes it even better is how the shift in tone hits the audience just as hard as it hits the characters inside the story. It completely redefines how people view every previous fight Ben has ever had, because suddenly all of those high stakes battles look small in comparison. Once that level of power is introduced, everything else has to operate in its shadow, and that completely changes how tension works in the series going forward. For most of Teen Titans, Raven barely talks, spends most of her time reading books, and acts like she'd rather be literally anywhere else rather than dealing with her teammates' bloody nonsense. While Robin is leading missions and Cyborg is blowing things up, Raven usually stays in the background. Sure, everyone knows that she's powerful, but they don't know the half of it. In fact, Raven herself spends most of her time making sure nobody ever discovers just how dangerous she really is. The reason Raven keeps her distance from everyone isn't because she's trying to be mysterious. The truth is that she's bloody terrified of what might happen if anyone ever sees what she's really capable of. Unlike the other Titans, Raven's powers are direct to her emotions, meaning every surge of anger, fear, or pain risks unleashing something far beyond her control. That's why she stays guarded, always holding herself back, while everyone else sees a quiet one who prefers keeping to herself. Raven is constantly fighting a war inside of her own head. Everything starts to fall apart when the Titans accidentally get pulled into Raven's consciousness. At first they think it's just another bloody mission, but the deeper they go, the more uneasy it becomes. They're not just moving through a mind, they're moving through Raven's emotions, memories, and fears. The place itself feels unstable, like it was never meant to be entered, and the lads slowly realise that this isn't just a mental space, but a containment.
Timid, brave.
You forgot Dopey.
Different sides of Raven's personality. We're not in Raven's home.
We're in her head.
Then they reach the truth. Deep inside her bloody mind, everything becomes clearer. The Titans finally learn that Raven is Trigon's daughter, born from a demonic force capable of destroying entire worlds. Suddenly, her behavior makes sense. Both the emotional distance and the way that she always seems like she's holding something back makes sense. Raven has not just been avoiding people, but she's been keeping something dangerous sealed inside herself.
Oh, no, you don't. I've had it with this mystery girl routine. I want to know exactly what we're talking about here.
Let's just say I have issues with my father.
As Trigon's influence starts to break through, Raven begins to lose control and her emotions surge for the first time in a way that she can't suppress, thereby making the mental world around them start to destabilize. What was structured and contained begins to fracture, showing just how fragile her control really is when pushed to its limit. The Titans realize that they're witnessing the moment her internal barrier begins to fall. When it happens, instead of collapsing completely, Raven's fractured emotions begin to align. Fear, anger, and control do not overwhelm her, but rather they stabilize. Her power settles into a new form, no longer scattered or reactive. This is the emergence of White Raven. In this state, her abilities become noticeably more refined and controlled, and the chaos of her emotions are no longer affecting her output in the same way, allowing her magic to function with clarity and precision. It's the first time that she's able to use her power without turning it against her. The Titans don't overreact. They simply realize that they're seeing a version of Raven who has finally gained control over something that she's been fighting her entire life.
You're going back where you belong!
Never.
When Luz first arrives in the Boiling Isles, she's immediately at a disadvantage compared to literally everyone around her. Witches can cast spells naturally, while Luz can't. Witches attend magical schools, but Luz doesn't belong there. Every bloke she meets has spent their entire life surrounded by magic, while she's basically making things up as she goes along. In a world filled with powerful spellcasters, Luz looks completely outmatched from day one. And if we're being honest, most people would have expected her journey to end right there. The biggest problem is that Luz physically cannot use magic the same way that witches do. She hasn't got a bile sac attached to her heart, which means that she can't cast spells naturally, no matter how hard she tries. At first, this seems like a bloody dead end. While everyone else is learning flashy magical abilities, Luz is stuck watching from the sidelines like a proper spare part. It's frustrating as hell because she desperately wants to belong in this world. Yet, the one thing she needs most appears completely impossible to obtain.
How can I, little old Luce, do magic if I don't have a magic bile sac?
I know witches did magic differently in the past, but I never bothered to figure out how.
Ida!
Everything changes when Luz starts noticing strange symbols hidden throughout the Boiling Isles. Tiny patterns that most blokes would turn a blind eye to. While everyone else relies on traditional spellcasting, Luz begins connecting the dots and realizes that these symbols have powers of their own. Unlike witches who draw magic from within themselves, these symbols seem connected directly to the world around them. And if her theory is correct, she might finally have a way to cast spells after all. The reveal comes when Luz draws her first glyph and activates it. Suddenly, the symbol bursts to life, producing real bloody magic, despite the fact that Luz technically shouldn't be capable of casting any. It's a massive moment because it completely changes the rules. Up until now, everybody assumed that magic required natural talent. Then this human girl comes along and finds a system that most witches either forgot about or never got a hold of in the first place. For the first time, Luz isn't copying witches anymore. She's forging her own path.
There's a pattern in the spell circle.
What? Where?
There.
What makes glyph magic so broken isn't raw destructive power, but its versatility. Luz can combine glyphs together to create effects that nobody expects. The possibilities become ridiculous once she starts experimenting, while other witches are restricted by the spells that they know, because Luz is essentially discovering an ancient magical language that allows her to create solutions on the fly. And because so few people understand glyphs, her opponents are constantly caught off guard by what she can do.
It's for your own good!
The reactions from characters around her are exactly what you'd expect. Everyone's impressed, or probably wondering how a random human managed to uncover magical secrets that trained witches overlooked for generations. But more importantly, the reveal changes how Luz sees herself. For the first time since arriving in the Boiling Isles, she isn't trying to imitate everybody else, but she's proving that being different isn't a weakness. And from that moment forward, Luz stops being the human who couldn't use magic and becomes the human who discovered an entirely new way to use it.
How is she doing that?
I don't know, but she did it all on her own.
And those were some of the greatest first-time ability reveals in animation. From Aang unleashing terrifying power of the Avatar state, to Luz uncovering an ancient form of magic, and Raven finally resolving her trauma. Every one of these moments completely changed how people viewed the character. The best part is that none of these reveals happened to just look cool. Each one changed the bloody story forever. They raised the stakes, revealed hidden truths, and showed us these characters were far more powerful than anyone originally believed. One moment, they're being underestimated, and the next moment, everyone around them is standing there thinking, bloody hell, we've been looking at this person all wrong. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And let us know down in the comments which first-time ability reveal shocked you the most. There's loads of amazing examples that didn't make this list, and I'd love to hear your picks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you lot in the next one. Cheerio!